Welcome back. Today I am standing before you to discuss another concept in Module 6 of Kerala PSC Assistant Professor in Exam, that is Human Resources Accounting or Human Resource Accounting HRA. So before going to the meaning and definition of Human Resource Accounting, let's begin with the history or the need of HRM. You all know the success of an organization greatly depends upon the quality, the caliber, and the character of human resources working in an organization. And so the employees are the greatest asset of an organization, and the success or failure greatly depends upon the skill and the performance of an employee. In spite of the vast physical resources and the latest technology, an organization finds itself in the amidst of financial crisis if it does not have the right people to manage and conduct the affairs. So the need for human resource accounting arises. So the name of major freedom fighters like Sri Motilal Nehru, Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, etc. cannot be valued to such individuals in the balance sheet of the nation. It is William Petty in 1991 made the first attempt to value the human beings in monetary terms. He was of the opinion that labor was the father of wealth and it must be taken into consideration while making an estimate of wealth. So William Petty is the first person to make an attempt to value the human beings in monetary terms. So what do you mean by the term HRA or Human Resource Accounting, or what do you mean by the concept of Human Resource Accounting? HRA is a new branch of accounting. It is based on the traditional concept that all expenditure on human capital formation is treated as a charge against the revenue of the period because it does not create any physical asset. Since the human resources does not create any physical asset, all expenditure relating to human capital formation is treated as a charge against the revenue of the period. But nowadays, this concept has changed and the cost incurred on any asset should be capitalized and it yields benefits measurable in monetary terms. But nowadays, this traditional concept was entirely changed. So meaning, HRM means accounting for people as the organizational resources, or it is the measurement of cost and economic value of people to the organization. What do you mean by HRA? HRA is the measurement of cost and revenue of people to the organization. HRA is the measurement of cost and economic value of people to the organization. So definition, come to the definition. This definition is given by American Accounting Society Committee. American Accounting Society Committee defines HRA as the process of identifying and measuring data about human resources and communicating the results to the interested parties. What do you mean by the term HRA and what do you define the term HRA? HRA is the process of identifying and measuring data about human resources. ഐഡൻറ്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യാൻ അതായത് ഹ്യൂമൻ റിസോഴ്സുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട ഡാറ്റാസ് മനസ്സിലാക്കാനും അത് മെഷർ ചെയ്യാനും എന്നിട്ട് ഈ മനസ്സിലാക്കിയ അതും മെഷർ ചെയ്തതുമായ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റഡ് പാർട്ടീസിന് കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് കൊടുക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് അമേരിക്കൻ അക്കൗണ്ടിംഗ് സൊസൈറ്റി കമ്മിറ്റി ഡിഫൈൻ ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത് HRനെ കുറിച്ച്. നെക്സ്റ്റ്, വാട്ട് ആർ ദ ഒബ്ജക്റ്റീവ്സ് ഓഫ് ഹ്യൂമൻ റിസോഴ്സ് അക്കൗണ്ടിംഗ്? വൈ വി ആർ അക്കൗണ്ടിംഗ് ദ ഹ്യൂമൻ റിസോഴ്സസ്? First one, to allow the management personnel to monitor effectively the use of human resources. Then to provide a determination of asset control, that is, whether the human assets are depleted or appreciated. Then next is that to facilitate the effective and efficient management of human resources. Then to evaluate the return on investment in human resources. To furnish the to furnish cost value information for making management decision about acquiring, developing and maintaining the human resources in a business. So these are the main objectives of HRA. Then next we move to the approaches for valuation of human resources. So approaches for valuation of human resources is important. First one is that historical cost approach. This approach was first developed by William C. Piley and R.G. Barry Corporation, a leisure footwear manufacturer based in Columbia, Ohio, USA in 1967. It was first developed by William C. Piley and R.G. Barry Corporation. R.G. Barry Corporation is a leisure footwear manufacturer based in Columbia. So under this historical approach, actual costs incurred on recruiting, hiring, training and developing the human resources of an organization are capitalized and amortized over the expected useful life of human resources. That is, the total cost incurred for procuring the human resources are capitalized and it must be amortized. Up to what extent? Up to the expected useful life of human resources. So the historical cost of human resources is very much similar in the book value of other physical assets shown in the balance sheet. This approach is similar to that of the book value of other physical assets shown in the balance sheet of a business. Why so? When an employee is recruited, he is employed with the obvious expectation that the returns from him will far exceed the cost involved in selecting, developing and training given to them. That is, under historical cost approach, the total cost involved in procuring the human resources must be paybacked within the expected life of human resources of an organization. That is, the organization can got the all expenditure incurred on acquiring the employees very fast within the expected life of human resources in an organization. That is, and all this expenditure must be added together and it must be capitalized and amortized over the useful life of human resources. So while we are discussing this historical cost approach, there is one important limitation is that we are not able to predict the expected useful life of any human resources in an organization. Am I right? That is, the expected useful life of an human resources in an organization cannot be predicted well accurately in advance. So while discussing historical cost approach, this important limitation is subsisting. The next approach is that replacement cost approach. This approach was first suggested by Francis Likert, was again developed by Eric G. Flamholtz, 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 on the basis of the concept of replacement cost. Here, this human resource of an organization are to be valued on the assumption that new similar organization has to be created from scratch, and what would be the cost to them of the existing resources are required to be replaced with other persons of equivalent talents and experiences. Listen, here as its name indicates, the cost involved in procuring the existing resources of an organization is replaced by the equivalent talents and experiences of new employees in similar kind of organization. That is, human resource of an organization are to be valued on the assumption that the assumption that new similar organization has to be created from scratch, and what would be the cost to the firm of the existing resources are required to be replaced with the persons of equivalent talents and experiences. So it takes into consideration all the costs involved in recruiting, hiring, training and developing the replacement to the present level of proficiency and familiarity with the organization. That is, all the costs involved in bringing back the existing human resources must be replaced to the present level of proficiency. And so this approach is more realistic because it incorporates the current value of company's human resources in its financial statements prepared at the end of the year. So as compared to the traditional approach, or as compared to the historical approach, this replacement cost approach is more popular because it takes into account the current value of company's human resources in its financial statement prepared at the end of the year. Then third one is that opportunity cost approach. Opportunity cost approach. This method was first advocated by H.C. Kimen and John for a company with several divisional heads bidding for the services of various people they need among themselves and then include the bid price in the investment cost. That is, this method was first advocated by H.C. Kimen and Johns for a company with similar or several divisional heads bidding for the service of various people they need among themselves and then include the bid price in its investment cost. That is, the human resources of an organization are auctioned and the bid price of this category of human resources are included in the investment cost. That is, the opportunity cost is the value of an asset when there is an alternative use of it. Opportunity cost is the cost of an asset when there is an alternative uses of it. There is no opportunity cost for those employees that are not scarce, and also those at the top level will not available for auction. The top level employees will not be available for the auction, and also this opportunity cost is not applicable to the employees that are not scarce. സ്കെയർസ് അല്ലാത്ത എംപ്ലോയീസിനെയും അതുപോലെ ടോപ്പ് ലെവലിൽ നിൽക്കുന്ന എംപ്ലോയീസിനെയും ഈ ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റി കോസ്റ്റ് അവൈലബിൾ അല്ല എന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. So this is the opportunity cost of valuing the human resources. Then next is that standard cost approach. This approach envisages the establishment of standard cost per grade of employees updated every year. And how to calculate this standard cost of each category of employee. The standard cost is calculated by using the replacement cost, and this standard cost is compared with the result of those planned. So variances produced should be analyzed and would form a useful basis for control. But under this approach, determination of the standard cost for each grade of employee is a tedious process. Here, standard cost is fixed by taking into account the replacement cost of an employee, and this standard cost is compared with the actual cost or those planned costs, and if there is any variances, it should be analyzed and it must be taken into account for controlling the same. But this method is also suffers an important limitation that the determination of this standard cost is a very tedious task. Okay. Then next approach is that present value approach. Next is that present value approach. Under this approach, the valuation of human resources is determined according to their present value to the organization. We have number of valuation models to determine the present value of human asset. like present value of future earnings method, reward valuation method, net benefit model, certainty equivalent method, etc. So by using these methods, we have to determine the present value of human asset in an organization. So these are the various approaches of valuing human asset in an organization. Then next is that what are the benefits or what are the advantages of human resources accounting. First advantage is that helpful in proper interpretation of return on capital employed. That is, the human resource accounting will disclose the value of human resources. This will help in proper interpretation of return on capital employed, and this information will give long-term perspective of the business performance, which could be more reliable than the return on capital employed based on net profit only. That is, the interpretation of human resources will give a long-term perspective of business performance, which could be more reliable. That is why HRA helpful in proper interpretation of return on capital employed. Then second is that it improves managerial decision making. That is, the maintenance of detailed records relating to internal human resources, or in other words employees, will improve managerial decision making, especially in situations like direct recruitment, promotion, transfer, retention, retrenchment, etc. So in view of its possible impact on human relations and the impact of budgetary control on human relation and organizational behavior and the decision relating to this can be made very easily. Thus, the use of human resource accounting will definitely improve the quality of management. That is, in order to take the decision relating to the internal decisions relating to the management, like the promotion, demotion, retrenchment, etc. In order to take the decision with regard to this aspect, the HRA is very much helpful to the management. That is why it improves managerial decision making. Then next is that it serves social purpose. How HRA serves social purpose? That is, it will serve social purpose by identification of human resources as a valuable asset, which will help in prevention of misuse and underuse due to thoughtless transfers, demotion, layout, etc. And that's why this serves social purposes. The next is that it increases in productivity. That is, it will have the way for increasing the productivity of human resources, because the fact that a monetary value is attached to human resources and that human talent, devotion and skill are considered as valuable assets and allotted a place in the financial statement of an organization, which will boost the morale, loyalty, etc. of the employees, which ultimately increases the productivity. The next is that invaluable contribution to humanity. That is, HRA will be an invaluable contribution for accounting to humanity, and it will lead to improve human efficiency while preserving human dignity and honor. The next is that it helps in investment decision. That is, the value of firms' human resources is helpful in potential investors and other users in making long-term investment decision. The next, it completes MIS. What do you mean by MIS? Management Information System. That is, human resource data would create a more complete management information system, as it can provide information of vital importance for both short-term and long-term decision making, as well as performance measurement. That is, HRA provide information with regard to short-term and long-term decision making as well as performance measurement, and hence it completes management information system. So these are the some of the benefits or advantage of human resource accounting. Then next is that what are the problems or limitations of HRA. No doubt HRA can provide valuable information both for management and outsiders. Yes, outsiders. Yet its development and application in different industries and organizations has not been very encouraging. So, HRA suffers the following problems or limitations. First one is that there are no specific and clear-cut guidelines for finding cost and value of human resources. That is, there are no specific and clear-cut guidelines. There are no standard guidelines for finding the cost and value of human resources. So that is the major important limitation. The next is that another very important limitation is that the life of human resources is uncertain, and therefore valuing them under uncertainty seems unrealistic. That is, the life of human resources is uncertain, and therefore valuing them under uncertainty seems unrealistic. Then next is that the HRA may lead to dehumanizing and manipulating in employees. Why? Like how? For example, a person having a low value may feel discouraged and thus in itself may affect his competency in work. That is why HRA may lead to dehumanizing and manipulations in employees. The next limitation is that tax laws do not recognize human beings as an asset. So, human resource accounting has been reduced to merely a theoretical concept. Then next is that if a valuation has to be placed on human resources, how should it be amortized? Should the rate of amortization be decreasing, constant or increasing? Should it be the same or different for different categories of personnel? So these are some questions which are arising in mind while we discussing about human resource and accounting. What are the questions? These questions are yet to be answered. That is, if evaluation has to be placed on human resources, how should it be amortized? First question. Second question, should the rate of amortization be increasing, constant or decreasing? Then next question is that should it be the same or different for different categories of personnel? So see, these are the some of the problems or limitations of HRA. So to conclude, leading public sector units like OIL, BHEL, NTPC and SAIL, etc. have started reporting human resources in their annual reports as additional information. So to conclude, the concept of HRA is still at the experimental and developmental stage because of the fact that there is no universally accepted method of human asset valuation. So, there is an urgent need for evolving a universally accepted method of human asset valuation. I hope you all are clear with my explanation. Thank you.